from the comfort and confines of my home. So we are subject to the internet falling out or noises in the background. So if any of those things happen, I do apologize. I'll try and get it rectified as soon as possible and we'll move on. Any questions you guys have as I'm going through the presentation, stop me, write a message. I'm happy to answer during, so long as it's not a too long answer needed, and then I'll save it for the end. But anytime you need to stop me and ask a question, feel free to do so. So I'll just give it one more minute and then we'll crack on with understanding the brand lexicon. And I hope you guys get some real value out of this. I've tried to cram as much as I can into 30 minutes, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. Any questions you want to ask, that would be great. I can pop them up so everyone can see what we're talking about. Get some questions rolling, and then we'll call it a day. So hopefully you're all doing well anyway, and lockdown is treating you well. I think it's time we got the ball rolling. So let's make a start, guys. So like I said, welcome. Thanks for signing up. I really appreciate it. If you've come through the emails, thank you so much for opening that email. I know there's a lot going around at the moment. If you've come through LinkedIn or elsewhere, it's fantastic to see you. Thank you so much for showing interest, and thank you so much for giving up your time. It's a very valuable asset at the moment. So once again, thank you very much. If you're on Twitter and you want to continue any conversation after this, hashtag the content drop-in is where we've been working from. I had one conversation off the back of it last week, which was great. So if anybody can add to that this week, I'll be there answering any questions, etc. So what we're going to be talking today about are why you exist. Why does your content exist beyond just to sell or advertise? We're going to be talking about your audiences, only very slightly on your audiences today. Just a couple of exercises you can do to build audiences. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail there because it's a vast subject, as all of these subjects are. I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew. So we're going to go into audience slightly, and then we're going to talk into the goals that each of your content should be helping your customer or user achieve, and talking about the better calls to action that will come out of knowing who you are and why you exist, because all of these things come from who you are and why you exist, and getting that bit right is the most important part. And because brand voice is going to be very important for us as writers, I'm going to have to mention that as well. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about voice. Brilliant. So let's move on then, guys. Let's make a start. The first thing I actually want to do is just tell you what the brand lexicon is. Normally I hate titles that don't self-explain, and I've gone and done that this week. So I'm just going to run you through what the brand lexicon means to us at Footprint. So it's kind of brand language, really. We're talking about the brand language here. And I've put up an image here of Shoot the Hippo, which is a book that we're in the process of writing and publishing. And within that book, we talk about the brand lexicon, and it has all of these things within it: your history, why, vision, etc., etc. So the brand lexicon in itself is quite a huge topic. And I'm only going to be covering 3 of these today, and why in the most detail. If you can get your brand language and your brand voice right, you're well on the way to being able to differentiate yourself in the market, because that's where a lot of businesses struggle. So hopefully that explains what the brand lexicon is. And with that, let's talk about what branded content versus a content brand is. In quite a lot of the messaging for this session, I've said I'm going to be teaching you how to write like a content brand. And I want you to understand the difference between these two things, although it is kind of self-explanatory. Humor me. Okay. So branded content is simply a piece of content, and it's just got your logo or brand name pasted all over it. So people know straight away when they look at it, oh, this belongs to this person, okay, or this belongs to this brand. Most content your brand puts out is likely to have this, but you want to aim for something a little bit better than that. And through writing better branded content, becoming a content brand is where you're going to see yourself differentiate. So a content brand have pieces of content that emanate your values and ideas. Every piece is so consistent, it becomes obvious that that belongs to you. So even if you end up removing your brand name, your logo, people are going to start understanding, oh, that belongs to X brand, Y brand. So if you saw an advert on TV, for example, and we see Tiger Woods struggling with an injury, but in the end he makes it, and it's all celebration, we know, well, this could belong to Nike, not Mike. This could belong to Nike, okay? Because that's the way that their brand works. That's the way their brand voice works. It's all about the success of the people who invest in them. And it's all about their success, their sporting success. So that makes them a content brand. So I hope that makes sense as well. Any questions, of course, just pop them straight in. And sorry, I've stumbled over a few of my words. We're not talking about Mike there. We were talking about Nike, the brand. So let's get started then with, why does your content exist beyond what it actually sells? If you know this, it's going to make your sales messages so much better. And to do this, I know that some of you may have watched this or seen this before, but I think it's really important to remind ourselves of how you can start with why. And to do that, I've got a very short video from Simon Sinek. So I'm just going to pop this on. Let me know if you can hear it properly, because I'm using the built-in feature here. So do let me know if you can hear it. Otherwise, there's no point in showing you. Awesome. Right, I'll leave that playing. It's only 5 minutes long.
I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly?
Okay, brilliant. Right. So, I mean, he articulates that so well. I mean, and I think once you've watched Simon Sinek once, that's just it's a talk that's lasted in my memory. Just knowing that the why is so important is something we have to focus on. And I'm going to build a little bit on that for you now with your writing. So remember, products are made in a factory, brands are created in the mind. So one thing that we have to remember when we're writing for our brand is that 99% of services are not unique. Okay, if you do photography, if you do education, if you do housing, loads of other people do that. You're not unique in the market just through your products or your services. It's impossible to be that. Somebody else will be doing it. And most semi-decent services in existence are bespoke. Okay, if you're offering a service to a client and you're not making it unique to their needs or bespoke to their needs, then you're probably doing it wrong and you're going to lose that business. However, when you look across writing, especially B2B writing, business to business, the words unique and bespoke are everywhere. They're plastered on pages as if they make that brand different, but they don't. And it's something you really, really need to remember. Because really, your brand is your only differentiator. It's the only thing that's going to make your service look different to somebody else that offers the exact same service as you. At Footprint, we call this brand positioning. And where you get this from is asking yourselves questions like, what ideas and values led to the creation of my business? Why do I exist? These very ideas should head up your voice, your brand voice, and subsequently they'll run through all of your messaging. So that's what we're going to look at achieving today. So just a quick stopping point. What is voice? Lots of people say tone of voice or voice and tone. They are two very different things. Very important to remember. Voice never changes. It's consistent across every single thing you write. Tone will change, and it's largely dependent on that content purpose. So for example, your tone on your homepage is going to be very inviting, open, whereas your tone on an FAQ that could be considered a complaint, a frequently asked question that's a complaint, your tone should be different there. Because if you're still open and inviting there, people aren't going to take you as seriously, or they're not going to get what they want out of that FAQ. So the tone is going to change, but the voice is not. Let me show you some examples. So here's one of my favorite content brands, Innocent Smoothies. I hope you guys have heard of these guys. They're excellent. This is their website. I've just taken a snapshot of their homepage. This is brand voice at its finest, in my opinion. You can see here how conversational it is, that they bring humor into it. It's so easy to understand. They've got, it's very open to any age group here. Now, these are a B2C. They're a business to consumer brand, I know. But we should be looking at this in the B2B sphere, if that's where you are, and taking this on as advice. Even businesses are buying now emotionally. Those things matter. So if you're not doing the same things that B2C businesses are, maybe it's time to look at what works well for them and start incorporating it into how you write. Now, this is a brilliant homepage because it does everything that their why statement says they'll do. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I just want to contrast voice here with tone to get that point across. So note their change in tone when they talk about their modern slavery statement in 2019. Notice how the voice is consistent. This statement in a nutshell, very resonant of joking language like at a loose end, mark, set, grow. That voice is still there, okay? That kind of idiom, if you like. This statement in a nutshell. But when you get into the bones of it, that's why we're dedicated to making sure that slavery and people trafficking isn't any part of how we make our drinks. That tone is very serious. Why Innocent exist as our examples before we get into you guys and your brands and your businesses. So this is Innocent's why they exist statement. So we're here to make it easy for people to do themselves some good. Now notice here how there's nothing about product, nothing about service. It's just a statement of which they believe. Now there are some words in this that are the most important to me, and when you look at their site, it resonates the most. So easy, do themselves, and good. And you can see this as soon as you click onto their website. It talks about what you can do yourself. You can knit a hat. You can do 100 things this weekend. You can grow something. Okay, the good about Innocent Smoothies rolls throughout the products. Obviously, they're good for you. They're healthy. They're only made with fruits. They've signed up to loads of recycling initiatives. They're part of a lot of good movements. So that as well has resonated straight away. And then the ease of access. I talked about this a little bit before, the language they choose, even their navigation, things we make, us, recycling revolution. It's so easy to understand. And you can see here how all of this content comes straight from their why. And that is why they are a content brand. Okay, they are a content brand because they achieve that flawlessly throughout their website. Take a look. And hopefully that makes sense as well. But they're a really good example. There are other brilliant examples. Apple, obviously, Nike, really great as well. So just take a look around and see what you can find. But let's get back to you guys, because this is about you. This is about improving your content brand. So I offer you the We Believe exercise, all right, to make sure you can achieve this. So establishing a why is really hard. And it's hard because it requires a lot of thinking, but it also requires a lot of asking yourself why over and over again. Here are some common mistakes that we see at Footprint. So we exist to supply bespoke solutions to small and medium businesses. It's product or service driven. If your why is product or service driven, it's not going to resonate with any kind of emotion or value, and people aren't going to buy into it. Here's another one. We saw a gap in the market where we knew we could offer a better service at a better price. This is putting yourselves into a commodity war. So everybody might have heard of Poundland. Poundland exist and they thrive because they're part of a commodity war which they win. Everything's a pound. People don't go there because they love the brand. People go there because everything's a pound. And if everything wasn't a pound, they probably wouldn't do so well. If you want to be part of a commodity war, those business models can work, but they're not going to make you a content brand. We just knew that we could do better than our competitors, so we threw our hat in. Okay, if you are a person who is ego-driven and the reason you start a business is because you just think you can do it better, it's not likely to resonate with an audience. If you can put a value and an emotion in the reason why you thought you could do better, you're onto something winning. But if you simply think, I'm just better at this and that's why I made this business, surprise, surprise, it's not going to resonate with a wide audience. And then lastly, people need insurance, so we decided to offer it to them. So it doesn't appeal to emotions and values. These are some things you've got to remember when you're coming up with your why you exist statements. These are things that have got to be there. But we can fix these. So if you're at a stage where this is something along the lines of what you were thinking about why you exist, then you can fix these, no problem. But you've just got to keep asking yourself why over and over and over again. And once you get to some kind of reasonable conclusions, add a we believe to the beginning of a sentence and then pop those ideas in there. And what you'll do is you'll find that by the time you've written out 5 or 6 we believe statements, you'll actually find that you don't believe some of those things, but you do believe others. And you'll start building up why you truly exist. Now, it's really easy for me just to say, guys, just ask yourself why over and over and over again, and you'll get there. It's not easy. And I want to show you an example of how you can do that. So here's a company I have made up, some IT company. They don't even have a name. And they've come to me and they say, oh, okay, we exist to supply bespoke solutions to small and medium businesses. And I say, great, okay, but that's not why you really exist. So why do you supply bespoke solutions to medium and small businesses? And they reply, oh, because SMEs deserve the best hardware. Well, why do SMEs deserve the best hardware? Oh, well, because it helps them out. It's not easy or cheap to get the best hardware. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, well, why is it not so easy or cheap to get the best IT hardware? Well, because upgrading is really expensive. And normally it's much more easy to maintain what you have. And now we're starting to get somewhere. So from a company who originally just said we offer a service plus a product, we're now getting towards a company who's saying, well, actually, upgrading is really expensive and you should just maintain what you have. So they're already starting to differentiate themselves. So I asked them why again. Well, why is upgrading really expensive and normally it's much easier to maintain? Because maintaining your hardware is normally sufficient for small to medium enterprise productivity to stay high. It's better for your purse and it's better for the environment. Now we're really getting somewhere and we've got a value. We've got value in there, okay? The environment has become a value and saving you money has become a value, all right, through maintaining. So I asked them why again, and they get to, because ultimately it's actually just about productivity. It's not about having the latest model. So we move from a company who started by saying we sell product plus service to a company that's saying, actually, it's not about that product. It's more about your productivity. Okay, so we've shifted a whole way away, and we've done that just through me continuously asking them why over and over and over again. So we get to the point where we have this initial statement, and they arrive at a statement which is more like this: we believe in fair and sustainable productivity. And what that's done is it's taken that value of the of recycling, of sustainability, and it's attached that emotion of being fair with pricing. Okay, and it's made a statement that's going to make them differentiate from their competitors. So that's all well and good. The fact that we've put all these things through the why machine, it's all well and good that we've done that. But how does this translate to actually writing a product or service page or any page? And that's where your sales messaging comes in. Okay, so writing your content for any page, whether it's a blog, whether it's a product page, whatever it might be, is going to be way easier when you know why you exist and when you know you can differentiate what you offer. So in the case of this IT company, they can now adapt the messaging for a Cisco product that they sell. Cisco being a hardware producer that does routers and connectivity things for offices. Okay, putting it very, very bluntly. So if you're to go on the Cisco website and look at the 45E100 series that they sell, which is a connector, they say this: accelerate business growth and improve efficiency. The Catalyst 4500E series is Cisco SD Access ready, and it's the industry's most widely deployed modular platform for campus access and distribution deployments. Now with Supervisor 9E, 8E, and 8LE, these switches offer 928 gigabits of wired and wireless convergence access per system. Right, brilliant. Cisco are a huge hardware company. They are very technical. And when you click on their product pages, this is what you get above the fold: technical specs. Because what they want to do is they want to outgun their competitors on specs, because that's the kind of race that they're in. Brilliant. But we want to be different from them, even though we supply Cisco as the IT company. So we're going to say something more like this: your developing business doesn't always need the latest upgrade to operate flawlessly. Well-maintained or refurbished tech can still achieve growth and improve efficiency. The 4500 series, although a legacy switch, packs seamlessly wired and wireless access capabilities, so your network infrastructure doesn't hold you back. Now, our service offering here is the same. It's a product. But the way we've arrived at what that product does for the business comes straight from our why statement. Okay, you've got things in there that matter to us. The values that matter to that IT company are in that content above the fold. Cisco talk about technical aspects. We talk about sustainability, okay, and productivity. There's the difference. There's your differentiator. The product that they're going to get, the client's going to get, similar, okay, if not exactly the same. So this is how it works. You can differentiate that offering, okay? And that is how it works, and that's how it runs through all of your content, and that's how it could run through all of your content. And you get to the point where you start relaying these same messages that come from your why so often, you get to this point where you can start forming a cognitive bias to your reader called the availability cascade, which is about saying the same messaging over and over and over again until it resonates with them, until they believe it to be true. We're obviously not lying here, but what it does is it then rolls off their tongue and they know exactly what your brand exists to do. And if you can achieve that, your content is working very well. Right, I know we should have finished now on 31, but because my internet fell out, I've got a couple more slides for you guys. I hope you can stick with me. About 10 more minutes tops, and then we'll get to some Q&A. Obviously, if you've got things to do feel free to run. I'll be sharing these slides and sharing this video later. But thank you for staying on board. So I said I'd do a little bit about audience, and I'm going to do a little bit about audience. So who are you writing for? You've got to know who your perfect customer looks like, because they're going to be in your content wherever it exists. Different content is going to be for different audiences, but you need to know who those audiences are. You've got to make them 3D. The more granular you can go with your audience types, the better they're going to be. Now, I've got a couple of things here that you could include and you should include. Not going to read through them all because I don't want to read straight off these slides. But audiences are best when they're granular. And if you're looking for a template to build audiences, I've included some great links here where they offer you kind of a persona building pack. And if you're looking to build audiences on social media, then there's a good one from Hootsuite, because the thing about audiences on social media is you can then actually directly use them to segregate ads if you're looking to make some adverts. So you might find that Hootsuite guide really useful. But basically, the moral of this story here is the better, the more granular your audiences are, the better you're going to target your content to them. And what we do at Footprint is we then change these audiences, or we kind of rank them, if you like, into A, B, and C audience groups. A's being your perfect client. If somebody walked in and they could be an absolute win-win for you, what do they look like? Who are they? Okay. B's are, you're still happy to see them, but you might not be targeting them all the time. So these might be the people who might find you slightly out of their budget, or who are looking for something slightly different before they segued onto you. Okay. And then your C clients are the ones you're never really going to be directly addressing, but if they still come along, great. Okay. And once you've made a huge list of these initial attributes, you can then start distributing them between your A, B, and C audience types. And this is going to help you when you're creating different types of content, because you might want to start a campaign where you actually target the C's. If you're trying to expand your business, you'll eventually have to target those. Yeah. So having those there as a backup ready to go is going to be super useful for you. I haven't got an example of a customer persona today, but if that's something you'd like to see, I have got loads of examples, and just let me know after this and I can send you some through. Yeah, so if you're looking for that, if you're looking for an already existing example, do let me know. But I'm going to move on because of time. So let's look then at goals. So what is your content helping your customer to achieve? Okay, knowing this is going to make your calls to action much, much better. So what your brand is trying to achieve is going to naturally filter down to your products or services. So that why statement, again, is going to be the reason that you offer what you offer. If you end up with a why statement that doesn't allow you to offer what you offer, you've gone wrong. So let's go back to my ID, Anne. Great, I'll get those over to you as soon as I finish this. I'll get those over to you, all right? So let's go back to my IT company, who say that we believe in fair and sustainable productivity. Their products then are going to be refurbished hardware equipment for offices. In this case, I've just used Cisco as an example. They're going to offer IT maintenance 100%, along a lot of other services. They're going to have some corporate social responsibility, the hideously named, where they might join an end-of-life recycling scheme where they try to be more than just a service or product provider. They want to do something back. They want to hand something back to their local community. And they might have a help hub, which is like a blog, where they might give loads of maintenance tips in order to make sure that companies can sustain what they've already got. Okay. So if we're looking at one type of that content, so let's take products, for example. They're writing a product page here, and we need a goal for the content. Let's take one product in particular, a Cisco router, for example, that's going to help people connect to the internet and to other bits of network. The page goal is always going to be with products, give me leads or give me a sale. Okay, that's very likely always going to be your product page goal, is either buy it now or give me a lead so I can call them and sell it later. So that page goal is always probably going to be exactly the same for a product or a service. But however, you have to consider your brand goals here, because it's all about what you want the customer to get out of this. So for your customer, it's about efficiency and dependability. That's what they're buying from you here. If they buy a router from my IT company, they need a router that's not going to go down, they can depend on it, and it's going to keep them productive. So that's what they need from my content. So when I've written my content, my potential call to actions to make them take the next step should be unique to what I want them to understand this page is about. If I simply have contact now or fill out a form or submit, they're not going to feel like they're being naturally taken to the next step. They're not going to feel like their need is addressed. So you could have things like ready for a fair quote, or I need an efficient network, or I would like to find my next dependable router. Because all of these things are bespoke to the item I'm offering them, and it's got a reflection of why I exist that's taking them to the next level. All of it is building my content brand, and all of it is directly servicing my customer and my audience. I hope that makes sense there. I showed you earlier what the content above the fold would be for this page and how we could get our why statement into that. And now I'm showing you how I would take them to the next step by making sure that my call to action is bespoke. It's not just call now, get in contact, all right? It's something much more unique, and it's going to change for every product and service, hopefully, because they're going to be different. So basically, guys, the moral of the story is shite content ignores everything we just spoke about. So if you don't talk about your why, if you don't know who your audience are, and you don't have goals for each bit of content that you write, your content is just not going to resonate. The best brands are content brands. They're not branded content. And that brings us to the end of today, guys. Okay, I hope you've really found it useful. I'm sorry that it's been a bit bitty and I got lost a little bit in the middle there because my internet fell off. But hopefully you've still found it useful. Hopefully it wasn't too rushed at the end. If there's any questions you guys have got, I'd love them. I know that Anne would like a customer persona, and I'm going to send her across a couple across that I've got for clients that we've got. I'll obviously omit their name, give a few client examples that I've worked with. I'm glad that you found that so good. If you did enjoy it, please sign up for the next ones. Session 3 is all about how to not write shite. So this is about the craft of writing. Okay, there's no way to write right, but there is a way not to write shite. Okay, so it's about the craft of writing. How do you write better sentences? How do you write better paragraphs? How do you get people to convert and stay on your pages? That's what session 3 is about. And then session 4 is all about building stories. Stories for your services, stories for your products, stories for your brand that are going to make you more believable and make you stand out. Awesome. Right. Thank you very much for that feedback, guys. Sign up for the next one. Give it a little plug. For me, guys, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you want to connect with me on Twitter, brilliant. I'd love to see you there. If you'd like to endorse me on LinkedIn, I'd be super happy for you guys to do that, obviously. If you want to criticize me and tell me it was rubbish, great. Do that too. I'll take all the feedback you've got on the chin and any questions you have. But ultimately, this is about starting a conversation from the space, comfortable space of your living room or home office, wherever you are. Any advice you're looking for, I'm happy to kind of reach out and respond to you guys. Are you able to include a customer persona in the email you send after? Yes, definitely. I will do that. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll do that for everybody. I will include a customer persona, I'll include the slides, and I'll include the video once I manage to splice it together. So we've taken a little longer than I'd hoped. We're almost on 40 minutes. Is there any other questions from you guys before we round this off for today? Can't see anybody racing to type, so I feel that people are okay. Okay. Right, brilliant. Okay, well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, guys. I'm glad that it's been useful. I hope it's been clear. Again, I'm sorry for that blip in the middle. Any extra feedback you'd like to give me, do send. I'll send you guys through. Oh, one question. I'm going to hang around then. Thank you, Anne. Do we get copies of the slides? Yes, you will. You'll get copies of the slides. Okay, excellent. Right, thank you so much, guys. And I'll hope to see you next week. Bye for now.